Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Grade 8, this is your science lesson of the first week. We are going to start the textbook of science with the very first unit, that is from the bio portion. The name of the unit is Human Organ System. This is unit number 1, Human Organ System. In this unit, we will discuss the different organ systems of human. Number 1 is, what is organ system? Before learning about the different organ system, we should know what is an organ system and how is it formed. Basically, an organ system is the group of the organs that work together as a biological system to perform one or more functions. An organ system is the group of or the combination of different organs in the body, and these organs work together to perform a specific function in the body. Every organ has its own specific purpose, has its own specific function, but they work together in a group. How is an organ system formed? Here in this picture you can see that the smallest structural and functional unit of the living things is cell. Group of cells combine together to form the tissues, and then group of tissues combine together to form an organ. When the group of organs combine together, then they form an organ system, and combination of different organ system results in the formation of an organism. What does it mean? It means that an organism has different organ systems in it. Clear? There are different organ systems in the human body. In this unit, we will learn the two main organ systems of the human body, nervous system and the excretory system. There are different systems in the organ systems. Here you can see circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, nervous system, reproductive system, and circulatory system. Now we are moving towards the main topic, that is nervous system. What is the nervous system? In how many parts it is divided, and what is the basic purpose of the nervous system in the human body? Nervous system is made up of the nerves. There are many nerves. There are billion of nerves in the nervous system, and the purpose of nervous system is to communicate, coordinate and regulate all the functions of the body. Nervous system is divided into the two main parts, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system is the main control center of the body that has further two parts, brain and the spinal cord. Central nervous system, in the short form we say CNS, it has the two main parts, brain and spinal cord. The second part of the nervous system is the peripheral nervous system. Everything outside the brain and the spinal cord is the peripheral nervous system. It is the combination of different nerve cells that carry messages to and from the central nervous system. It carries messages from the body to the central nervous system and from the central nervous system to the body parts. Peripheral nervous system, the PNS, is further divided into the two parts, somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. Somatic nervous system controls the voluntary actions of the body, and autonomic nervous system controls the involuntary actions of the body. Voluntary actions are those that are under the control of the will. Involuntary actions are the reflex actions that are not under the control of the will. Clear? Now we are moving towards the basic and the main topic, that is central nervous system. How many parts of the central nervous system? Brain and the spinal cord. There are two parts of the central nervous system, brain and the spinal cord. The first part is brain, the human brain. We are going to talk about the human brain. Human brain is divided into the three main parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. Forebrain, midbrain and the hindbrain. Forebrain is the frontal part of the brain, and all of these parts or all of these divisions are further divided into the smaller parts that we will discuss in this video. Here you can see forebrain. Forebrain is divided into the cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. The three main divisions of the forebrain: cerebrum, thalamus, hypothalamus. I repeat, brain is divided into the three parts, forebrain, midbrain and hindbrain. And forebrain, the first part of the brain, has the three parts, cerebrum, thalamus and hypothalamus. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It is divided into the two halves, right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. And I'm repeating again, cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. Cerebrum is divided in two parts, left and right hemisphere, and these both are connected together with the corpus callosum. Right hemisphere controls the movements of the left side of the body. They work opposite to each other. Right hemisphere controls the movements or the functions of the left side of the body, and the left hemisphere of the cerebrum controls the functions and activities of the right side of the body. Cerebrum is the control center of all the sensory actions, like it is controlling sight, speech, smell, taste, etc., and it is also concerned with the learning, thinking, and intelligence. So we can say that learning, thinking, intelligence, memory, all of these things are concerned with the cerebrum. All these functions are performed with the cerebrum. The second part of the forebrain is thalamus. Thalamus is located above the brainstem and between the midbrain. Above the brainstem and between the midbrain. We will discuss midbrain and brainstem later. What are the functions of the thalamus? Thalamus is basically the processing center. How is it a processing center? It processes the information, the sensory information between the cerebrum and the body parts. It is processing the data between the cerebrum and the body parts. As I said, that cerebrum is controlling all the sensory activities like speech, sight, smell, taste. So, thalamus is controlling the information between the cerebrum and the body part. It carries the messages from the body part. It delivers the messages from the body parts to the cerebrum and from cerebrum back to the body parts. The third part of the forebrain is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is the third part of the forebrain, and it is present under the thalamus or the below the thalamus or at the base of the thalamus. What is the function of hypothalamus? Hypothalamus controls body temperature, hunger, and thirst. Hypothalamus controls body temperature, hunger, and thirst. And there is one more thing in this picture, that you can see a red dot in the picture that is above the hypothalamus. This is the pituitary gland present above the hypothalamus, and this gland controls the growth and reproduction in the human body. So we have discussed the three parts of the forebrain: cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum is the main control center of the body, and cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. It controls all the sensory activities as well as it is concerned with the learning, thinking, and intelligence. Thalamus thalamus is con, thalamus is con, thalamus is the processing unit between the cerebrum and the body parts, and hypothalamus is controlling temperature, hunger, and thirst. So this was all about the forebrain. Now we are moving towards the midbrain. Here you can see the midbrain, the location of the midbrain at the center of the brain. It is present under the cerebral hemisphere and above the hindbrain. It is present under the cerebrum and above the hindbrain. That's why we call it midbrain. What does it do? It is reduced in humans. It is a little reduced in the humans. And what is the main function? It connects the forebrain with the hindbrain. It is present at the center of both of them, the forebrain and the hindbrain, and it is connecting both of them together. And it is concerned with vision, hearing, sleeping, and temperature regulation. The midbrain is concerned with the vision, hearing, sleeping, and temperature regulation. And it also controls some of the reflex actions like change of the size of the pupil. Do you know what is pupil? Pupil is in the eye, and it is controlling the size, controlling the change in the size of the pupil, so that it can control the light entering into the eye. What is it controlling? Basically, it is controlling the amount of the light that can enter in the eye. So midbrain is present between the forebrain and the hindbrain, and it connects both of them together. It is concerned with the vision, hearing, sleeping, and temperature regulation. Clear? The third part of the brain is the hindbrain. It is present at the back side of the brain. It also has three parts. It is also divided into the three parts like the forebrain, but the parts of the hindbrain are hindbrain are pons, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. There are three parts of the hindbrain: cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. So now we are moving towards the functions of the parts of the hindbrain. The first part is cerebellum. Cerebellum is the second largest part of the brain. After the cerebrum, it is the first largest part of the brain is cerebrum, and the second largest part is cerebellum. What is the function of the cerebellum? Cerebellum is concerned with the posture, balance, and locomotion of the body. The posture of the body, the balance of the body, and the locomotion of the body. Locomotion means movement of the body. The second part of the hindbrain is pons. What is the function of the pons? The function of pons is basically the connect. It is the connection. It is the connection maker. Where is it making the connection? It makes a connection between the medulla oblongata, cerebellum, and cerebrum. The three parts: cerebrum, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. It conduct impulses between the three of them. It acts as a bridge between them. And the main purpose of the pons is it controls sleep, it controls wakefulness, and it controls the rate of breathing. It is controlling the rate of breathing. Along with these, it is also controlling the eye movement and facial expressions. What is the function of pons? It acts as a bridge between cerebrum, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. It conducts impulses between them, and along with that, it is controlling sleep, wakefulness, rate of breathing, eye movement, and facial expressions. The third part of the hindbrain is medulla oblongata, and it connects the brain to the spinal cord. The main function of medulla oblongata is it connects the brain with the spinal cord. As you can see, it is present near the brain stem. In the circle, you can see the red inside the red circle is the medulla oblongata. What is the function of medulla oblongata? It controls heartbeat, swallowing, vomiting, coughing, sneezing, digestion, and breathing. So these are all the mechanisms that keeps going on while a person is sleeping. So we can say that medulla oblongata keeps on working when the rest of the brain does not work. Why? Because it is controlling all those functions that keeps on going when a person is sleeping, he's not working, and he is resting somewhere. Clear? Now we are moving towards the second part of the brain, that is spinal cord. But before talking about spinal cord, let me revise you the functions of the brain, the parts of the brain, with the help of this picture. Look at the picture. At the top, you can see the forebrain and the three parts of the forebrain, that are cerebrum, thalamus, and hypothalamus. Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain that is divided into the two parts, right hemisphere and the left hemisphere. Right hemisphere controls the left side of the body, and left hemisphere controls the right side of the body. Cerebrum controls the sensory activities, and along with the sensory activities, it is controlling intelligence, learning, thinking, and memory. The second part is thalamus. And what is the function of thalamus? Thalamus acts as a bridge between the cerebrum and the rest of the body. And it, it is the processing unit between both of them. And the third part is hypothalamus, and hypothalamus controls body temperature, hunger, and thirst. So these were the parts of the forebrain. Then we talked about the midbrain, and in the picture you can see the midbrain with the bluish color. The midbrain act the function of the midbrain is to transfer the information between forebrain and the hindbrain, as it is present at the center of them. And it is also associated with vision, hearing, sleeping, and temperature regulation. The third part is hindbrain. It is divided into the three parts: cerebellum, pons, and medulla oblongata. Cerebellum is the second largest part of the brain, and it controls body posture, body balance, and movement of the body. Pons is the second part of the hindbrain. It acts as a bridge between cerebrum, medulla oblongata, and cerebellum. It is concerned with rate of breathing, sleeping, and eye movement and facial expressions. The third part of the hindbrain and the last part of the brain is medulla oblongata, whose purpose is to connect the brain with the spinal cord, and it controls heartbeat, vomiting, coughing, and sneezing. Clear? Now we are moving towards the second part of the central nervous system, that is spinal cord. Here you can see where is the spinal cord present. It is present in the cervical vertebrae. This is the picture where you can see all the whole vertebral column: cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, and spinal cord is present in the cervical vertebrae. What is the function and the purpose of spinal cord? The main function of the spinal cord is to conduct nerve impulses. There are two nerve tracts, ascending and descending. What is the ascending tract? Sensory to brain, and descending is motor impulse to organ and the gland. Sensory to brain means it has a connection with the sense organ. Impulse or the message from sense organ to the brain is known as ascending track. The track through which the impulse from sense organ moves towards the brain, it is known as ascending track. And descending track is that in which the message from the brain moves toward the that organ, that what it has to do, that we say that motor impulses. Why we say it motor impulses? Because the motor neurons carry the message from brain to the organ that has do some movement. Then center of the spinal reflexes. Now we are going to watch a video. What is the basic function of the spinal cord? The basic function of spinal cord is to conduct the impulses from brain to the body parts. Now we will watch a video about the central nervous system.
The brain and the spinal cord are the two components of the central nervous system.
The two main components of the central nervous system are brain and spinal cord.
They are continuous with each other and they both have nerve cells. The outer layer
They are continuous with each other means they are connected with each other and they both have the nerve cells with them.
layers of the brain look gray in color. Hence, these regions of the brain are called the gray matter.
The outer layers of the brain are gray in color, so we call them gray matter.
The deeper layer of the brain has axon bodies present.
This is the picture of the neuron, that is the nerve cell, that is basic structural and functional unit of the whole nervous system. It has axons in them that are myelinated, and myelin has white color.
And in the top layers. As most of these axon bodies are myelinated, they appear white in color, and so this portion of the brain is called white matter.
So this portion of the brain is known as white matter. Why? Because of the presence of axons, it has white color.
In the spinal cord, the white matter is on the surface and the inner gray matter is in the deeper layer.
In the brain, the gray matter is on the surface and the white matter is in the deeper layer, while in spinal cord, the white matter is on the surface and the gray matter is in the deeper layers.
Both the brain and the spinal cord are covered by three membranes. The outer membrane is called dura mater, the middle one is called arachnoid, and the inner membrane is called pia mater.
The three layers that are covering the brain and the spinal cord are known as dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater.
A fluid called cerebrospinal fluid, CFS, flows in between the outer and middle membranes.
In between the outer and middle membrane is the cerebrospinal fluid.
The brain is a very soft tissue and is surrounded by a bony tissue called the cranium.
The brain is covered with a bony tissue. What is it? That is cranium,
which is made up of skull bones. The brain is divided into three parts: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain.
Here you can see the three partitions of the brain: forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain.
The hindbrain is connected to the spinal cord.
The hindbrain is connected to the spinal cord, as we discussed earlier. Now we are moving towards the written task. Your written task is human brain is divided into the dash part. You have to fill this blank and you have to attempt one question, that is explain the central nervous system. You have to write a detailed note on the central nervous system. You will discuss the each and every part of the brain and its function in this question. This is a long question and you have to write it properly. All the best for your written task and thank you for watching this video.